Welcome into your PFF prospect profile. Today it's all about Georgia's Isaiah Wynn. I think most people have him as a guard, but he played tackle his last year at college, and we've been talking about tackle value quite a bit here. Even though he has a guard's body, he still has the skills, I think, to at least stick a tackle at the next level. What are your thoughts on Wynn?
Yeah, he's a little undersized in terms of what you will like at tackle in terms of height, but his length is there for the tackle position, and the fact that by far his best season there at Georgia came when he played left tackle. Started off as a guard there and then transitioned to tackle as a senior, and while it was his senior year and you do expect him to have his best year, it was far and away his highest graded season there at tackle. And the biggest question with the size at tackle, where that really shows up, is pass protection, and that was probably his biggest strength at Georgia. He allowed 5 pressures all season long at tackle. So you add all those up, and the positional value of tackle, if I need left tackle, I might pop him in there for
might give him a shot. Look, he did it in the SEC as well, only 5 pressures. So we're talking about a guy who in 2015 and 16 had very good grades at guard. He's graded in the 80s over the last 3 seasons, his 3 seasons as starter. So good grades at guard, and then moves to tackle, has the best grade of his career. He is just such an efficient run blocker. So he feels like one of those guys where you could see all of the guard traits, right, on film, and it's like, this guy would make a really good guard. But we just keep coming back to, hey, the NFL's got this tackle problem, and there's really not a lot of good tackles, so maybe let him try to stick a tackle, and at worst, yeah, move him to guard, and he ends up as a very good player.
And I have heard that some teams are actually thinking about taking him at tackle. We shall see if that actually comes to fruition. Usually the talk is bigger than the actual action. Usually that almost never happens. But I do think he'll be a fantastic guard if he does get moved there. Technically, one of the most technically sound offensive linemen in this class. Seems like every rep he is very, in terms of his hand placement, footwork, very well, very already advanced in that. So the type of guy that I expect to be a day one starter, step in and could even be, a positive, a plus starter in the NFL right away.
Big fan of Wynn, and then he goes to the Senior Bowl, and this is where he's just, kind of checked every box along the way. He goes to the Senior Bowl. He wins Offensive Lineman of the Week for us because we graded every single snap, every single rep. It's all in the draft guide. You can actually look at win percentages. It's all a part of Edge and Elite. And he was Offensive Lineman of the Week. He was very efficient in pass pro, in the run game. Look, I mean, offensive linemen, they're not flashy sometimes, but when you look at Wynn, it's just really good across the board, and that's why we have him as a first-round prospect.
Yeah, I think you just mentioned it. The checks every box. There's really not a big concern that I have with him. There's obviously some minor flaws here and there. No offensive lineman is completely perfect heading into the NFL, but that's why we have him as first-rounders, because he has checked all those boxes. So if he does go that highly, well, he's worth it.
You wrote the profile in our draft guide. Very polished, could step right in from day one. Some glowing remarks in our draft guide for Isaiah Wynn, Georgia, tackle/guard. Give him a shot at tackle. If he lands at guard, he'll still be a very good player. That is your PFF prospect profile on Isaiah Wynn.